Chapter 1: The Invisible Wanderer. In the heart of the bustling metropolis, where the city's beating heart pulsed through the arteries of towering skyscrapers and labyrinthine alleyways, lived a young man named Oliver. He was a mere whisper in the urban symphony, a solitary figure navigating the cold streets with a quiet grace that went unnoticed by the hurried masses. Oliver, barely on the cusp of his 20s, carried the weight of a life marred by adversity. Fate had cast him into the unforgiving embrace of homelessness, rendering him invisible in a world that prioritized the gloss of prosperity over the raw struggles of those left on the periphery. The city, with its dazzling lights and ceaseless movement, seemed to have erected an impenetrable barrier between Oliver and the bustling life that teemed around him. His existence was a paradox, surrounded by a sea of people, yet perpetually alone. Oliver's days were a dance with destitution, a routine of scavenging for sustenance in the discarded remnants of others' excess, sleeping beneath the cold expanse of starless skies, and weathering the biting chill of solitude with stoic resilience. His clothes, tattered and worn, mirrored the neglect he faced from a society that had relegated him to the shadows. Yet, within the folds of those worn garments, beneath the layers of grime accumulated from the unforgiving streets, beat a heart untouched by the callousness of his surroundings. Oliver clung to the remnants of his integrity, an honesty that became both his shield and vulnerability in the face of a city that often treated him as a mere inconvenience. His eyes, windows to a soul hardened by life's trials, observed the ebb and flow of life with a silent yearning for connection. As Oliver traversed the city's concrete arteries, he became a spectral presence, a ghost lingering in the corners of crowded intersections and bustling marketplaces. The denizens of the metropolis, engrossed in the pursuit of their own ambitions and pleasures, spared him little more than passing glances, if that. To them, he was the embodiment of urban decay, an eyesore best ignored in the relentless march towards progress. The city, with its towering structures and gleaming facades, seemed indifferent to the struggles etched into Oliver's every step. It was a place where the pulse of affluence drowned out the silent cries of the forgotten, and where the invisible wanderer became a mere afterthought in the grand narrative of urban life. Yet, Oliver's spirit refused to be extinguished. Despite the city's indifference, he clung to the frayed edges of his dignity, navigating the treacherous terrain of homelessness with a quiet determination that belied the external chaos. The harsh winds that swept through the narrow alleyways echoed his resilience, and the bitter cold that gnawed at his bones failed to freeze the warmth that emanated from the ember of his honesty. In the heart of the city, as the invisible wanderer continued his solitary journey, the stage was set for a tale that would transcend the boundaries of fiction and delve into the harsh realities faced by those relegated to the fringes of society. Chapter 1 unfolded not only as an introduction to Oliver's life, but as a poignant exploration of the invisible threads that connect us all, threads that, if noticed, could weave a tapestry of compassion capable of unraveling the callous indifference that often shrouds the invisible wanderers in our midst.
Chapter 2: The Honest Heart. In the intricate mosaic of Oliver's life, Chapter 2 unfolded as a poignant exploration of the young man's unwavering commitment to honesty amid the chaotic backdrop of urban indifference. Oliver's journey through the unforgiving streets of the metropolis was not merely a physical odyssey but a testament to the resilience of the human spirit when faced with the harshest of circumstances. Barely in his 20s, Oliver traversed the cityscape with a quiet grace that contrasted sharply with the chaos surrounding him. His honesty, a rare gem in a world accustomed to artifice, became both his shield and his vulnerability. In a realm where duplicity was often the currency of survival, Oliver clung to the remnants of his integrity, a beacon of authenticity in the shadows of towering skyscrapers. Each day was a testament to Oliver's commitment to truth. The city, with its glittering facade and deceptive veneer, seemed to demand a compromise of one's principles in exchange for survival. Yet, Oliver's honest heart beat defiantly, untouched by the tarnish of compromise. His scavenging for sustenance in dumpsters and makeshift shelters spoke not of desperation, but of a man unwilling to sacrifice his principles at the altar of societal expectations. The city's inhabitants, ensconced in their pursuits of success and fulfillment, seldom spared a glance for the young man whose honesty radiated like a quiet flame in the darkness. Their disinterested glances and indifferent gestures only served to amplify Oliver's solitude. He became a lone figure navigating the crowded streets, his genuine spirit obscured by the bustling masses. Yet, Oliver's days were not just a litany of struggles, they were a canvas painted with the strokes of quiet observations and contemplation. His eyes, reflective pools that mirrored the complexities of his existence, watched the world with a yearning for connection. The honest heart that beat within him longed for recognition, not in the form of pity but in the acknowledgement of his shared humanity. As Oliver continued to navigate the city's labyrinthine pathways, his honesty became a source of both strength and isolation. Society, quick to judge based on appearances, failed to recognize the untapped potential within the young man with tattered clothes and weathered features. The city's indifference, a bitter pill that Oliver swallowed daily, only fueled the flame of his commitment to an authenticity that transcended societal expectations. Amid the harsh winds and the unrelenting urban cacophony, Oliver's honest heart became a silent protest against the prevailing narrative of self-interest. His existence challenged the notion that success and worth were measured solely by material prosperity. In a world intoxicated by the allure of artificial facades, Oliver's commitment to honesty was a counterpoint, a reminder that beneath the veneer of societal expectations lay the beating heart of an individual yearning for connection and understanding. Chapter 2 unfolded as a chapter of contradictions. The honesty that defined Oliver's essence clashed with the deceptive currents of the city that sought to erode his authenticity. Yet, within this conflict, a narrative of resilience and quiet rebellion emerged. Oliver, the honest heart navigating the city's tumult, became a symbol not only of personal integrity but also of the enduring strength found in authenticity, even when faced with a world that often demanded compromise.
Chapter 3: The Disregarded Soul. As the tapestry of Oliver's life continued to unravel, Chapter 3 emerged as a haunting exploration of the relentless disregard he faced in the heart of the bustling metropolis.
The city, with its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, remained oblivious to the untold struggles of the young man who had become a mere spectre in its midst. Oliver's existence, marred by homelessness and marked by resilience, unfolded against a backdrop of urban indifference. The city's inhabitants, consumed by the ceaseless rhythm of their lives, cast him aside with a callousness that seemed to be the prevailing melody of the concrete jungle. In the grand symphony of urban existence, Oliver's song was but a whisper, drowned out by the cacophony of progress. His tattered clothes and unkempt appearance became the canvas upon which society projected its judgments. The city, with its judgmental glances and hushed whispers, painted Oliver as a burden, a stain on the veneer of prosperity it sought to portray. The disregard he faced was not merely physical, it permeated the very fabric of his being, leaving scars deeper than the wounds inflicted by the unforgiving streets. Oliver's attempts to engage with the world were met with closed doors and cold shoulders. The city, indifferent to the honest heart that beat within him, became an inhospitable landscape where compassion seemed to wither like flowers in the shadow of towering structures. The disregard extended beyond the realm of physical interactions, manifesting in the systemic neglect that rendered him invisible to the mechanisms of societal support. In the face of this collective disregard, Oliver's spirit remained unbroken. He continued to navigate the streets with a quiet dignity, a disregarded soul traversing a city that failed to acknowledge the untapped potential hidden beneath the surface. The harsh winds of urban callousness did not extinguish the flame of his honesty, instead, they fanned the embers of his resilience. The city's indifference, however, cast a long shadow over Oliver's journey. The isolation he faced became a silent scream, echoing through the alleyways and narrow streets. His yearning for recognition, not as a burden but as a fellow human being, reverberated in the unresponsive concrete walls that framed his solitary existence. Yet, within the disregarded soul of Oliver lay a profound narrative of human perseverance. His honesty, once perceived as a vulnerability, transformed into a source of strength. The city, oblivious to the treasures concealed within its disregarded souls, failed to recognize the potential for change that lurked in the shadows. Chapter 3 became a chapter of contradictions. The bustling metropolis, a symbol of progress and prosperity, stood in stark contrast to the overlooked struggles of the disregarded soul navigating its crowded streets. Oliver's story unfolded not as a plea for pity but as a stark reflection of a society that, in its pursuit of advancement, often forgot the inherent worth of every individual, regardless of their external circumstances. As the disregarded soul continued to traverse the urban labyrinth, the question lingered in the air like an unspoken truth: how many more souls, unnoticed and disregarded, wandered the city's streets, their stories untold and their potential unrealized? Chapter 3 served as a poignant exploration of the silent tragedies that unfolded daily in the shadows of progress, as Oliver, the disregarded soul, remained a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of systemic neglect and societal indifference.
Chapter 4: A Flicker of Hope. Amid the shadows of urban neglect, Chapter 4 unfolded as a poignant chapter in Oliver's journey, a chapter that introduced a glimmer of hope in the form of a community center. This humble sanctuary, nestled within the cold expanse of the city, would become both a refuge and a catalyst for an unforeseen transformation. The community center,
a beacon of warmth in the heart of the concrete jungle, offered a respite from the harsh realities of the streets. It was a space where the downtrodden, the overlooked, and the disregarded found a temporary sanctuary, a haven that extended a hand where society had turned its back. For Oliver, the discovery of the community center marked a pivotal moment in his narrative. The doors, though not made of gold, opened with an invitation that transcended the material. Here, within the walls of compassion, he found not just shelter and sustenance but the recognition of his shared humanity. The volunteers, armed with empathy, looked beyond the worn exterior and glimpsed the untapped potential within the young man who had been rendered invisible by the city's indifference. As Oliver stepped into the community center, the air seemed to shift. It was not just a physical space but a metaphorical bridge between the disregarded soul and a society that had the potential to rediscover its compassion. The flicker of hope ignited within him mirrored the warmth of the center's embrace. The volunteers, unsung heroes in their own right, became companions on Oliver's journey. They saw beyond the surface, recognizing the genuine spirit and unwavering honesty that defined him. Workshops and programs became stepping stones for Oliver to rebuild not only his practical skills but also his shattered confidence. The community center, once a mere refuge, evolved into a training ground for resilience and a canvas for self-discovery. The city, indifferent for so long, began to witness the subtle transformation taking root within the once disregarded soul. Oliver's interactions with the volunteers and fellow participants sparked a sense of camaraderie that had long eluded him. The flicker of hope, kindled within the walls of the community center, began to cast its glow on the desolate corners of Oliver's existence. The narrative, though not without its challenges, evolved into a testament to the power of compassion and collective support. Oliver's story became intertwined with those of others who, like him, sought solace within the walls of the center. Together, they formed a makeshift family, a mosaic of backgrounds, struggles, and dreams, united by the common thread of resilience. The community center, once a hidden gem in the heart of the city, now stood as a symbol of hope, a flicker that had the potential to illuminate the darkness that shrouded the disregarded souls navigating the urban landscape. Oliver, once an invisible wanderer, became a visible participant in the intricate dance of community life, stepping out of the shadows and into the light of newfound possibilities. Chapter 4 unfolded not just as a narrative of personal transformation but as a broader exploration of the transformative power inherent in spaces of empathy and understanding. The flicker of hope ignited within the community center would cast its glow beyond its physical confines, illuminating the path for others who, like Oliver, yearned for a chance at redemption amid the unforgiving streets of the metropolis.
Chapter 5: The Ripple Effect. In the heart of the city's relentless pulse, Chapter 5 emerged as a crescendo of transformation. An exploration of the ripple effect sparked by Oliver's journey within the confines of the community center. This chapter delved into the profound impact of a single individual's resilience, honesty, and newfound hope on the intricate fabric of the urban tapestry. The flicker of hope kindled within Oliver began to radiate beyond the walls of the community center, creating an invisible, but palpable ripple effect that touched the lives of those around him. As he attended workshops, honed his skills, and embraced the opportunities presented to him, Oliver's metamorphosis became a beacon for others who, like him, sought a chance at redemption. Word of Oliver's transformation spread through the community center like wildfire, reaching the ears of fellow participants and volunteers alike. The once disregarded soul had become a symbol of resilience, a living testament to the untapped potential hidden beneath the surface of those relegated to the fringes of society. The center, a microcosm of shared humanity, bore witness to the birth of a silent revolution. The ripple effect extended beyond the physical confines of the community center, seeping into the city's collective consciousness. Those who had once passed Oliver with indifferent glances began to take notice. The invisible wanderer was no longer a mere silhouette in the crowded streets, he was a living, breathing testament to the transformative power of compassion and empathy. Inspired by Oliver's journey, others within the community center began to embrace their own potential for change. The workshops, once a means of acquiring practical skills, evolved into platforms for self-discovery and empowerment. The collective spirit that emerged within the walls of the center became a force capable of challenging the prevailing narrative of urban neglect. As the ripple effect gained momentum, the city started to witness a subtle shift in perception. The homeless, often dismissed as burdens, became individuals with stories, dreams, and the capacity for change. The once disregarded souls, inspired by Oliver's resilience, began to reclaim their agency, challenging the stereotypes that had long confined them to the margins of society. Volunteers, initially drawn to the community center by a sense of altruism, found themselves transformed by the very community they sought to uplift. The ripple effect extended to them, fostering a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of human experience, and the potential for positive change when empathy guides collective action. Oliver, the unintended catalyst for this quiet revolution, found himself at the epicenter of a narrative that transcended his individual journey. His honesty, once disregarded by the city, became a force capable of dismantling the walls of indifference. The ripple effect of hope, ignited within the community center, became a force capable of challenging societal norms and fostering a more compassionate ethos within the urban landscape. Chapter 5 unfolded not just as a continuation of Oliver's personal odyssey, but as a testament to the transformative power of collective resilience. The silent revolution sparked by the flicker of hope within the community center bore witness to the undeniable truth that a single individual, armed with authenticity and hope, could set in motion a ripple effect capable of reshaping the very foundations of a society that had long disregarded its most vulnerable souls.
Chapter 6: The Unseen Hero. In the intricate dance of urban life, Chapter 6 unveiled a transformative chapter in Oliver's journey, a chapter that saw the emergence of an unseen hero from the shadows of neglect. As the city, once indifferent to his presence, began to witness the profound impact of his resilience and authenticity, Oliver transformed from a disregarded soul into an inadvertent leader of a quiet revolution. The flicker of hope, kindled within the walls of the community center, continued to cast its glow on Oliver's path. Empowered by the collective spirit of the center, he took it upon himself to be the change he wished to see in the world. His journey from the invisible wanderer to the unseen hero became a narrative of defiance against the prevailing currents of societal indifference. Oliver, armed with newfound purpose, became a tireless advocate for the homeless community. His honest endeavors and unwavering commitment to change began to challenge the stereotypes deeply ingrained in the city's consciousness. The workshops and programs within the community center now served as platforms for Oliver to amplify the voices of those who had long been rendered voiceless. The city, once skeptical of Oliver's authenticity, found itself grappling with a narrative that refused to conform to its preconceived notions. The unseen hero's efforts to raise awareness about the struggles of the homeless community forced the denizens of the metropolis to confront the uncomfortable truth that their indifference had perpetuated a cycle of neglect. However, with visibility came scrutiny. The city's elite, entrenched in their comfort zones, perceived Oliver as a threat to the status quo. His advocacy, once embraced by the community center, now faced opposition from those who feared the disruption of the carefully constructed narrative of prosperity. Rumors and allegations were spread, attempting to tarnish Oliver's reputation and undermine the authenticity of his cause. Undeterred by the mounting challenges, Oliver stood as the unseen hero, a figure whose resilience resonated with those who had long felt overlooked. The homeless community rallied behind him, recognizing in Oliver a leader who not only spoke for them but stood alongside them in the face of adversity. The community center, once a refuge, transformed into a headquarters for a movement that sought to dismantle the walls of societal neglect. As the unseen hero pressed on, the city witnessed a shift in dynamics. The narrative of the disregarded soul had evolved into a narrative of collective empowerment. Oliver's authenticity became a rallying cry, inspiring others to join the cause and challenge the prevailing stereotypes that had long defined their existence. The battle for recognition, however, intensified. The unseen hero faced not only external opposition but also internal conflicts within the community he sought to champion. Allegations of impropriety and ulterior motives cast shadows over the movement, testing the very foundations of the revolution Oliver had sparked. In the face of mounting challenges, Oliver's resilience became a beacon of hope. He navigated the storm with a quiet determination, recognizing that the path to change was fraught with obstacles. The unseen hero, though battered by the winds of opposition, stood firm, unwavering in his commitment to a cause larger than himself. Chapter 6 unfolded not just as a chapter in Oliver's personal odyssey but as a narrative of societal transformation. The unseen hero, once a disregarded soul wandering the streets, had become a symbol of resilience capable of challenging the entrenched norms of urban neglect. As the city grappled with the complexities of Oliver's journey, it was forced to confront its own complicity in perpetuating the cycle of disregard for those who, like Oliver, sought nothing more than recognition of their shared humanity.
Chapter 7: The Tides Turn. In the unfolding saga of Oliver's journey, Chapter 7 marked a pivotal juncture, a chapter where the tides of public perception and societal dynamics began to shift, ushering in a complex interplay of challenges and triumphs for the unseen hero. The momentum of the quiet revolution that had taken root within the community center reached a critical juncture as the city, once indifferent, now found itself grappling with the undeniable force of change personified in Oliver. The chapter opened with the unseen hero facing an intensifying storm of opposition. The city's elite, resistant to the winds of transformation that Oliver carried, sought to discredit and dismantle the movement he had ignited. Rumors, once subtle whispers, now echoed through the corridors of power, attempting to paint Oliver as a charlatan rather than the authentic advocate he had proven to be. The community center, once a bastion of shared humanity, became a battleground where the forces of status quo clashed with the spirit of change. Internal conflicts threatened to erode the solidarity that had defined the movement, forcing Oliver to navigate not only the external pressures but also the internal fissures that threatened to undermine the collective resilience. Yet, as the storm raged, Oliver stood as the unwavering force at the center of the turmoil. The tides turned not against him, but in response to the growing awareness and empathy that his advocacy had stirred. The unseen hero's authenticity, though momentarily obscured by the clouds of opposition, continued to resonate with those who had long been dismissed by society. The city, witnessing the unfolding drama, found itself at a crossroads. The once disregarded soul had become a symbol of collective empowerment, challenging the systemic neglect that had defined the narrative of the homeless community. Oliver's journey, fraught with challenges and allegations, became a mirror reflecting the city's own resistance to acknowledging the humanity of those on the fringes. As the tides turned, the unseen hero's resilience sparked a groundswell of support. The homeless community, recognizing Oliver as their advocate, rallied behind him with a renewed sense of purpose. The community center, far from crumbling under the weight of internal conflicts, became a crucible where the movement's core values were strengthened through the fire of adversity. Public sentiment, initially swayed by the rumors and allegations, began to shift as the unseen hero's authenticity and commitment to the cause shone through. The city, faced with the undeniable truth that change was inevitable, witnessed a burgeoning coalition of individuals who, inspired by Oliver's journey, sought to challenge the deeply ingrained biases that had long perpetuated the cycle of neglect. Chapter 7 unfolded not just as a narrative of personal triumph, but as a reflection of societal introspection. The unseen hero, once disregarded and opposed, had become a catalyst for a broader dialogue about compassion, empathy, and the need for systemic change. As the tides turned, the city found itself on the precipice of transformation, forced to confront its own shortcomings and complicity in perpetuating the narratives that had long marginalized the voices of the unseen. The chapter closed not with the resolution of all conflicts, but with a palpable shift in the dynamics. The unseen hero, weathered but undeterred, stood as a harbinger of change, his journey emblematic of the collective struggle for recognition and justice that resonated far beyond the narrow alleys and towering structures of the metropolis. The tides had turned, and the city, now at the mercy of the relentless currents of transformation, awaited the next chapter in the unfolding story of Oliver's quest for a more compassionate and inclusive urban landscape.
Chapter 8: The Descent. As the narrative of Oliver's journey unfolded, Chapter 8 delved into the intricacies of a descent not into defeat but into the depths of societal complexities, internal conflicts, and the profound toll advocacy can take on an individual. The unseen hero, once riding the momentum of a burgeoning movement, now found himself navigating the shadows cast by the storm of opposition. The chapter opened with the echoes of the intensified conflict reverberating within the walls of the community center. Internal fissures, exacerbated by external pressures, tested the very foundations of the movement Oliver had ignited. The unity that had defined the once disregarded souls began to unravel, exposing the vulnerability inherent in collective endeavors faced with systemic resistance. The city's elite, emboldened by the internal discord, continued to chip away at the credibility of the unseen hero. Allegations, though baseless, gained traction in certain quarters, casting doubt on Oliver's authenticity and the legitimacy of the movement. The narrative of the descent was not just a physical descent from the heights of hope, it was a descent into the complexities of human relationships and the multifaceted nature of societal change. Oliver, burdened by the weight of external scrutiny and internal conflicts, faced a personal descent into the shadows of doubt and exhaustion. The once unseen hero grappled with the realization that advocacy, no matter how noble the cause, could extract a toll on the individual championing it. The relentless demands of leadership, coupled with the relentless storm of opposition, threatened to extinguish the very flicker of hope that had ignited the movement. The community center, once a sanctuary of shared purpose, now became a battlefield where ideologies clashed, egos clashed, and the once unified voices of the disregarded souls fragmented. The descent, though painful, revealed the fragility of collective endeavors in the face of entrenched systems resistant to change. The movement, initially a beacon of hope, now stood at a crossroads where the very essence of its existence hung in the balance. Yet, amid the descent, glimmers of resilience persisted. Oliver, though wearied by the storm, refused to relinquish the flicker of hope that had guided him thus far. The unseen hero faced the shadows with a determination to navigate the complexities, recognizing that the descent was not a surrender but a necessary exploration of the nuances inherent in societal transformation. As the city continued to grapple with the internal strife within the movement, the tides of public sentiment swayed once more. Some, disillusioned by the descent, began to question the viability of change. Others, however, saw the struggles as an inherent part of the transformative journey, a testament to the difficulty of challenging deeply ingrained societal norms. Chapter 8 unfolded not as a chapter of defeat but as a poignant exploration of the intricacies involved in effecting change. The descent, though marked by conflict and internal discord, became a necessary descent into the depths of societal introspection. The unseen hero, battered but not broken, stood at the nexus of complexities, ready to face the ensuing chapters with a renewed understanding of the challenges inherent in the pursuit of a more compassionate and inclusive urban landscape. The descent, though arduous, became a crucible where the unseen hero and the movement would be tested, reshaped, and, perhaps, forged anew in the fires of adversity.
Chapter 9: The Final Stand. In the narrative of Oliver's journey, Chapter 9 unfolded as a climactic chapter, the culmination of internal conflicts, external pressures, and the unseen hero's relentless pursuit of change. The final stand beckoned, not as a declaration of surrender, but as a testament to the unwavering resolve that had fueled Oliver's quest for justice, compassion, and recognition in the face of societal indifference. The chapter opened with the community center standing at the crossroads of unity and division. The once disregarded souls, now fractured by internal strife, faced the formidable task of reconciling their differences to confront the external forces seeking to dismantle the movement. Oliver, though wearied by the descent, emerged as a beacon of steadfast determination, urging those around him to recognize the collective strength that had initially propelled them forward. The city, witnessing the internal conflicts, remained a battleground where the forces of status quo sought to exploit the vulnerabilities within the movement. Allegations against Oliver intensified, with critics attempting to cast shadows on the authenticity of his advocacy. The final stand became not only a defense against external scrutiny, but also an opportunity for Oliver to reaffirm the core values that had ignited the movement in the first place. The unseen hero, undeterred by the storms of opposition, rallied the remaining supporters within the community center. The final stand was not just a confrontation with external forces, but a declaration of solidarity among the disregarded souls who had, at one point, found common purpose within those walls. Oliver's leadership, though tested, proved resilient in the face of adversity. As the final stand unfolded, Oliver addressed the internal conflicts with a candid acknowledgement of the complexities inherent in collective endeavors. The fractures within the movement became not just points of contention, but opportunities for growth and understanding. The unseen hero, rather than succumbing to the pressure, navigated the delicate balance of acknowledging individual perspectives while reaffirming the shared goal of challenging societal neglect. The city, once indifferent, now bore witness to a movement on the brink of either dissolution or resurgence. Public sentiment swayed in response to the unfolding drama, with some questioning the viability of change, while others recognized the enduring spirit of the unseen hero as a beacon for societal transformation. The final stand became not just a battle for the movement's survival, but a reckoning with the entrenched norms that had long perpetuated the cycle of disregard. Amid the clashes and complexities, Oliver's authenticity shone through. The final stand was not a polished spectacle, but a raw and unfiltered confrontation with the harsh realities of societal change. The unseen hero, though battered and wearied, stood firm, embodying the resilience that had defined his journey from the invisible wanderer to the advocate challenging the status quo. The chapter closed not with a resolution, but with a sense of anticipation for the ensuing chapters. The final stand, though marked by conflicts and uncertainties, became a turning point, a moment where the movement, and Oliver as its unseen hero, faced the ultimate test. The city, still in the throes of societal introspection, awaited the outcome with bated breath, recognizing that the resolution of this chapter would shape the narrative of Oliver's quest and, perhaps, the destiny of those who had long been disregarded by the unforgiving currents of urban indifference.
Chapter 10: The Silent Sacrifice. As the echoes of the final stand lingered in the air, Chapter 10 unfurled as a poignant reflection on the silent sacrifice that had defined Oliver's journey. The city, now grappling with the aftermath of internal conflicts and external scrutiny, began to witness the transformative power inherent in the unseen hero's unwavering commitment to change. The once fractured community center stood as a testament to resilience. In the aftermath of the internal strife, disregarded souls, once divided, found common ground in the shared understanding that unity was paramount in the face of societal indifference. The final stand had become a crucible, forging a stronger bond among the advocates of change who had weathered the storm together. Oliver, wearied by the tumultuous struggle, emerged as a changed man. The weight of leadership and the burdens of advocacy had etched lines on his face, but his spirit remained unbroken. The silent sacrifice he had made for the greater good became evident as the city, once indifferent, began to acknowledge the magnitude of the challenges he had faced. The accusations that had tarnished Oliver's name now lingered as a collective regret in the consciousness of the city. The once dismissive voices that had sought to undermine his authenticity were replaced by a collective remorse for the judgment that had nearly extinguished a beacon of change. The city, in its introspection, recognized the silent sacrifice Oliver had made, the personal toll of advocating for a marginalized community against the currents of societal norms. The final stand had been a turning point, not just for the movement but for the city's perception of the unseen hero. Oliver's resilience in the face of adversity, his ability to navigate internal conflicts, and his commitment to a cause larger than himself began to reshape the narrative. The city, forced to confront its own biases and complicity, started to view Oliver not as a threat but as a catalyst for necessary change. The silent sacrifice extended beyond the personal toll on Oliver. The movement, though scarred, had gained a deeper understanding of the complexities involved in effecting societal change. Internal conflicts, once viewed as impediments, became stepping stones for growth and unity. The community center, rather than crumbling under the weight of adversity, stood as a symbol of collective strength and resilience. Oliver's journey, from the invisible wanderer to the advocate challenging the status quo, had left an indelible mark on the city's collective consciousness. The silent sacrifice he had made became a rallying point for those who had initially doubted the authenticity of the movement. The city, now more receptive to the voices of the disregarded souls, began to acknowledge the inherent worth of every individual, irrespective of their circumstances. As Chapter 10 unfolded, Oliver's legacy became intertwined with the ongoing narrative of societal transformation. The silent sacrifice, though borne by one individual, resonated as a collective lesson in empathy and understanding. The city, once indifferent, now stood on the precipice of change, recognizing that the unseen hero's journey had illuminated the shadows of neglect that had long plagued its urban landscape. The chapter closed not with resolution but with a sense of hope. The silent sacrifice, though profound, had laid the groundwork for a more compassionate and inclusive city. Oliver, the once disregarded soul, had become a catalyst for a broader movement that sought to challenge entrenched norms and redefine the narratives that had long defined the urban experience. The city, forever changed by the unseen hero's journey, awaited the next chapter in the ongoing saga of transformation and redemption.
Oliver, the silent hero who had borne the weight of a movement, paid the ultimate price for his unwavering commitment to change. In the quiet solitude of the city that had both rejected and embraced him, he took his last breath, a poignant moment that marked the end of a journey that had transcended the confines of the streets he once called home. The city, now aware of the silent sacrifice Oliver had made, stood in solemn tribute to the man who had challenged its indifference. His legacy, though etched in the annals of a movement, resonated far beyond the physical boundaries of the community center or the narrow alleys where he had once wandered invisibly. Oliver's story became a testament to the enduring power of resilience, authenticity, and the quiet heroism of those who dared to challenge societal norms. The news of Oliver's passing reverberated through the city, casting a somber veil over the streets that had been witness to his struggles and triumphs. The homeless community, the advocates of change, and even those who had once opposed him found themselves united in grief. The silent hero had left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of a city that was forced to confront the complexities of neglect and the consequences of its own indifference. In the aftermath of his passing, the city began to reflect on the transformative journey of the man who had become an unintentional leader of a quiet revolution. The final stand, the internal conflicts, and the collective resilience of the disregarded souls, all were woven into the tapestry of Oliver's legacy. The community center, once a symbol of struggle, now stood as a monument to the unseen hero who had championed a cause that extended beyond his own existence. The legacy of Oliver endured in the stories of those whose lives he had touched. The once disregarded souls, inspired by his authenticity and commitment, carried forth the torch of change. The city, prompted by the silent sacrifice of its unwitting hero, began to reassess its approach to homelessness and societal neglect. Oliver's passing became a catalyst for a renewed commitment to empathy, understanding, and the recognition of the inherent worth of every individual. The funeral, a quiet affair attended by those who had walked alongside Oliver in his journey, became a moment of reflection and closure. The city, though scarred by the conflicts that had defined the movement, recognized the profound impact of the silent hero's legacy. In death, Oliver became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the face of adversity and ultimate sacrifice, change was possible. As the city moved forward, it carried with it the echoes of Oliver's unwavering commitment. The community center, once a battleground, now served as a beacon for those who continued the fight for justice and compassion. The legacy of the silent hero lived on in the hearts of those who had been touched by his journey, a reminder that the impact of authenticity and resilience could transcend the limitations of mortality. Oliver, though gone, became immortalized in the narrative of societal transformation. The city, forever changed by the silent sacrifice of its unseen hero, stood as a testament to the enduring power of one individual's commitment to change. In the quiet solitude of the streets that had both rejected and embraced him, Oliver's legacy echoed as a poignant reminder that the pursuit of a more compassionate and inclusive society was a journey worth taking, even if it meant paying the ultimate price.
The city, forever changed by the tragic tale of the homeless young man who dared to challenge the status quo, was left to grapple with the harsh reality that sometimes, the cost of change is paid in the currency of silent sacrifice. As the news of Oliver's passing reverberated through the urban landscape, a profound sense of introspection settled upon the city. The once indifferent metropolis found itself at the crossroads of collective grief, and a newfound awareness of the sacrifices made in the pursuit of change. Oliver, the unseen hero, had become a symbol not just of individual resilience, but of the broader societal complexities that underscored the struggle for justice and compassion. The city, now carrying the weight of Oliver's legacy, became a canvas upon which the consequences of societal indifference were painted in stark relief. The streets, once bustling with the rhythms of urban life, now echoed with a solemnity that spoke to the gravity of the silent sacrifice. The homeless community, advocates of change, and even those who had opposed Oliver found themselves united in a shared acknowledgement of the price he had paid for daring to challenge the established norms. In the wake of Oliver's passing, the city began to reassess its relationship with its most vulnerable inhabitants. The community center, once a battleground for change, transformed into a symbol of collective reflection and renewal. The legacy of the silent sacrifice prompted a deeper examination of the systemic issues that perpetuated homelessness and societal neglect, forcing the city to confront uncomfortable truths about its own complicity. The funeral, a solemn affair attended by a diverse array of mourners, became a microcosm of the city's changing narrative. Oliver's journey, marked by the struggles of an unseen hero, resonated with those who had long felt marginalized by the prevailing currents of urban indifference. The eulogies spoke not only of personal loss, but of a collective responsibility to honor the legacy of a man who had become a catalyst for societal transformation. The city's skyline, once indifferent to the plight of the disregarded souls, seemed to carry a somber weight. The narratives of Oliver's journey, the final stand, and the silent sacrifice became embedded in the very fabric of its structures. Murals depicting scenes from his life adorned the walls, serving as a constant reminder that the cost of change, though steep, was a debt owed to those who had been overlooked for far too long. As the city grappled with the aftermath, it became evident that Oliver's silent sacrifice had not been in vain. The movement he had unwittingly led gained renewed momentum, fueled by a sense of collective responsibility to honor his memory. Advocates, inspired by his authenticity, intensified their efforts to address the root causes of homelessness and challenge the systemic neglect that had defined the city's narrative for too long. The legacy of Oliver's silent sacrifice became a catalyst for broader societal change. Policy discussions emerged, community outreach programs flourished, and initiatives aimed at providing support for the homeless gained traction. The city, forever changed by the tragedy of an unseen hero, began to redefine its identity as a place that valued compassion, empathy, and the recognition of the inherent worth of every individual. In the quiet solitude of the streets that had both rejected and embraced him, Oliver's memory lingered as a testament to the transformative power of one individual's commitment to change. The city, while scarred by the silent sacrifice, emerged as a beacon of resilience, a place where the echoes of Oliver's journey served as a reminder that, even in the face of adversity, the pursuit of justice and compassion was a path worth taking. The tale of the homeless young man who dared to challenge the status quo became a defining chapter in the city's history. The silent sacrifice of Oliver, etched into the collective memory, stood as a poignant narrative that urged the denizens of the metropolis to confront their own roles in shaping a more inclusive and compassionate urban landscape. The city, forever changed by the tragic tale of the unseen hero, embarked on a journey of introspection and transformation, carrying with it the indomitable spirit of the man who had paid the ultimate price for the silent pursuit of change.